All right, first things first, Felix. What is going on with your mic setup?
It broke. I put tape on it.
All right, because I gotta say, like, while we were recording the David Dane interview, like most of the time, I was just like, I was trying to focus, but I was just looking at you, trying just sticking the mic. Like it was just you playing with the mic the whole time, man.
Yeah, well, I fixed it.
It reminded me of one of your apes doing like an enrichment activity.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I mean, like it's like imagine if you had a beautiful animal like a lar gibbon, be on Zoom. He would need something. He would need an activity.
Yeah.
And for me, it's fixing the mic. I can't do that anymore because I've already fixed it. I have a new mic stand, but I just didn't have time to set it up. I was doing my favorite other enrichment activity earlier today, which is breaking down cardboard boxes.
Oh, that's fun.
There's a lot of stuff you can do. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. A lot of people go in and they don't get the proper enrichment, and then they're anxious and won't eat their meals or breed because they've only been doing it the one way, like cutting the one end. But there's so many directions you can go in, and they are as varied and different and beautiful as there are different types of cardboard boxes.
I mean, do you use a box cutter or just your hands? You just rip it apart?
I use a USMC K-Bar Tonto. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, let's see it.
All right, hold on. Yeah, this is it.
That's a cardboard box would not put up much of a challenge for that thing.
As you guys know, I was pretty into the idea of buying an actual sword that was used by a samurai until I found out they're $1 million, and I have to wait till I'm on staff at This Is Us until I can buy one. But I wanted a tactile object, I wanted something, and I also I break down boxes, that's one of my activities, and so I got this. This is $70. And I've gotten way more than $70 out of enjoyment out of this beautiful black blade.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't this the exact same Navy SEALs type of knife that you bought when you were 14 and then your mom took away from you because you shouldn't be having enrichment activities like that?
Well, that was a different type of knife. This is used by just regular Marines who I think kind of suck, and I'm probably getting way more done with the knife than they ever did. But that knife I got was a Navy SEAL knife, and it was very cool. And I would, simulate what was that Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro movie?
The Hunted.
The Hunted. I was basically simulating that alone in my room.
Well, I see you're using the same blade technique, which is you're gripping it holding the blade by the top rather than so the blade is under your hand than over it. There's a lot of good interesting techniques you can use for that.
Well, that's what I was doing when I was 14. But unfortunately, once my mom saw it in the room, she took it. And you can't really bitch about that as a child. I think I was even younger. I think I was 12. It's I was well, I can't really complain about this. I guess I really shouldn't be having that. But now I have this. She can't take it away from me unless she comes to visit. She would do that. I'd be powerless. But you see how good I am with it now? Imagine if the knife hadn't been taken from me at that young age. And I got a few decades of practice.
You would be a blade master.
Yeah.
You would be the hunter, not the hunted.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's life, You can't, some people have a college sports injury. Some people, someone blew an air horn when they were taking the LSATs and they were going to be the greatest lawyer of all time. It didn't happen. Some people, blah, blah, blah. They made the greatest play of all time and Lou Holtz set them up for a bullshit charge and kicked them out. For me, it's like being the world's greatest bladesman. But you can't let that get you down. You just got to keep going. 30 is the new 20. 60 is young. 80 is the new middle age. You just got to keep going, and you can be a 75-year-old, YouTube knife fighter by the time that comes around.
Well, you just gotta keep breaking down those boxes. You just gotta just keep breaking them down. They're gonna pile up eventually, but life will give you a knife to deal with that problem. It's funny you said that 60 is the new 30. I was just out for lunch with Catherine, and there was this guy on the street who was just we noticed he was just sort of standing alone, just sort of dancing by himself, and then he started raising the roof. He was raising the roof and just sort of talking to himself, and then as he sort of walked down the street past us, he was He was hyping himself up, and I was like, I wonder what this guy's on about. He seems to be having a good time. And then he just says, tell me life doesn't begin at 60. Show me a motherfucker who says life doesn't begin at 60. Point him out to me. And just walked away. And I was like, this is inspirational. I'm coming up on a birthday tomorrow, so Jesus.
Well, I'm already 63 years old, so I agree with him. But he's responding to my previous viral ad campaign. You should kill yourself when you're 60. I no longer stand by that. I no longer believe that.
He was going to challenge you to a knife fight.
Yeah, and he's probably pretty good. Like, raising the roof is the same muscle group as knife fighting. If you're confident enough to raise the roof out in public, who knows what you can do with that blade.
It's true.
Well, fellow bladesmiths, fellow knife fighters, it's Chapo. We're back. I don't know about you guys, but man, I am tired. This weekend was a blast. That's right. I'm talking about Martha's Vineyard, Obama's 60th birthday party. We got the invite, and it was a rager. It was a party to be remembered. I'm still getting over it. I am gassed. But we are still bringing you this episode despite all the fun we had this weekend with the former president on his Martha's Vineyard compound. But boys, wouldn't you know it? A lot of people are salty that they got axed from the invite list.
Oh, haters!
Yeah,
Sorry you weren't there. Sorry you weren't there to enjoy heaping helpings of major. I'm still walking off all the major I ate at that party.
Larry David was, summarily executed at the party. They kicked him out. Do we have a full list of like the musical acts? Because that Common performed the Gap song, the Gap hoodie rap, which is Obama's favorite song.
And then he just busted out the Microsoft commercial.
Yeah,
just started yelling, "We're living the future we always dreamed of."
That is probably the bullshit Obama listens to.
Yeah, he's just like nodding his head like, "That's right. We are. We're living in that future."
It was fucking sick. I mean, like, I loved the different colored themed rooms. The ebony clock centerpiece was fucking amazing. When Chrissy Teigen fucking got up on stage and did some like live roasts of a teenager until they cried. She did some crowd work that had me in stitches.
I was invited. I couldn't make it. I think it looked like pretty fun. You saw from Erykah Badu. It is interesting. I couldn't believe that Erykah Badu was there. But it party's a party. And Obama looked like he was shooting electricity on the dance floor.
Everyone was wearing a tan suit. It was wonderful.
Well, I come back from the Vineyard, and what do I see? It's covers in the New York Times of what is going on with Obama's 60th birthday bash. The former president scaled back the guest list for his party on Martha's Vineyard. Who's in? Who's out? I mean, if you have to ask that question, you're out. You're out, loser.
Well, so Larry David and David Axelrod were axed, apparently.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, like, David Axelrod, that kind of, like, rubs me the wrong way. Because it's, like, not that I like David Axelrod, but it's, like, he's, like, thinks the exact same stupid shit that Obama thinks. And, like, David Axelrod was there from the start. David Axelrod was driving that limo in Peoria. This is like a Jay-Z and Dame situation.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's who the bungler is. He wanted to become president so he could hang out with famous people. So that's what he did.
So yeah,
that's fucking loser politics nerds.
That's what sucks about Obama though. The most is like he did sell his soul to hang out with famous people, but like the famous people he wants to hang out with are like Chris Martin and like the bassist from the National and Common.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people, specifically point to not just David Axelrod, but like much of his former White House staff did not get the invite to the party after the guest list was pared down. And a lot of people are saying, oh, like there's something, I don't know, a bit classless about that to, cancel David Axelrod's invite, who, worked closely with Obama for like well over 20 years and probably more than any one individual is, helped and is responsible for his success and him being president. But, if you're going to choose between them and, I don't know, Bruce Springsteen or Don Cheadle, I mean, who would you invite to your party?
Probably Don Cheadle. I mean, like, Springsteen, sure, but like Don Cheadle,
he was in. Come on, he was in Ocean's 11.
That's true. I mean, did any of the Johns make it? I mean, with Axelrod you can understand because when Axelrod was at Rolling Loud last week, he said some very homophobic things. He said, "Put your lanyards in the air if you don't have HIV." Ladies, if your pussy smells like a Kosey salad bowl, put your fucking phones in the air. But everyone else, like, I presume Dan Pfeiffer, if the Axelrod didn't make it, Dan Pfeiffer definitely did it. Tommy Vitor definitely didn't. You know, did any of the Pod Johns make it? Do we have any confirmation on that?
Well, I mean, let's go through this article here. I mean, the New York Times is on the case. It says here, Jay-Z and Beyonce were still in as of Friday. David Axelrod and Larry David were out. Former President Barack Obama's 60th birthday has been anticipated as the biggest social event of the summer for alumni of his administration and friends of the Obama family. A celebrity-studded garden party at Mr. Obama's $12 million Martha's Vineyard mansion. But this week, some invitees were treated to a cold dose of reality when they were abruptly cut from the guest list, while some of the boldest names were not. The party, the uninvited were told, had been scaled back because of growing concerns about the spread of the Delta variant of the coronavirus. In what seemed like fodder for a future episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, Mr. David, the comedian and Martha's Vineyard homeowner, was executed. No, sorry, uninvited. I mean, the New York Times, I mean, they say uninvited, but, you know, let's be honest, they're working hand in glove with the O'Bungler to cover up the fact that, yes, they did take Larry David and put him in the Wicker Man as Chrissy Teigen and John Legend set him ablaze while they all sung a song. And that was, and, you know, thank you, Beyonce. But yeah, so let's see here. So were the majority of former Obama administration officials who had been looking forward to the reunion after an isolated year and who generally credit themselves with helping create the Obama legacy that has allowed the former president to settle in so comfortably with the A-list crowd. Well, okay, then you did your job. Sorry you didn't get the invite. You created the legacy so that he could hang out with Bruce Springsteen, and now he's doing just that. So sorry you couldn't come hang out.
Be proud for him. Don't be petty about this. This was what you worked for. Congratulations, you got it. Just look at him out there. Look at him out there. He's doing the Dougie with Bob Dylan. You love it. You're very happy that this is happening.
Obama would run over a grandparent with a monster truck to shake hands with Norah Jones. That's just who he is. You know, you can't get mad. It's like, you know, what the Scorpion says.
Rock me like a hurricane.
I really wanted to meet the guy. I really wanted to meet the guys from Five for Fighting. I couldn't imagine not hanging out with David Boreanaz, or whatever the fuck that guy's name is from Bones. You know, I had to like drink an Amstel with Mark Pryor. Sorry, fuck you.
It says there was some solace among the government wonk set that they weren't the only ones no longer welcome at porch drinks with Eddie Vedder, who is still expected to attend as of Friday. The late night talk show host David Letterman and Conan O'Brien were also cut from the guest list. But on Saturday, as the celebrities began descending on the island, every new paparazzi shot sent a wave of hurt feelings through the Obama alumni network, who had been cut and were left to track the party via tabloids. Celebrity couples Chrissy Teigen and John Legend, as well as Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, were photographed arriving on the island ahead of the party, alongside actor Don Cheadle and comedian Stephen Colbert. Even a Real Housewives of Atlanta star, Kim Fields, was photographed flying into the island. I mean, look, I know they say Hollywood is DC for ugly people, but like once you transcend that, like you can be among Hollywood, which is Hollywood for hot, attractive, cool people. And yeah, your invite is getting lost in the mail. So, sorry, everyone who helped create Obamacare.
Yeah, did you see who did make it though? My man, John Kerry.
Really?
Obama was cutting all these people who have literally been with him since he was like a state senator. Like, fuck you, sorry, bye, fuck you. And then he sees John Kerry's name and he's like, no, he has to make it. I have to drink Molly water with John Kerry.
Well, he is. You got to remember, though, I mean, he is the warlord of Massachusetts. I mean, like, if you didn't invite him to an event on Martha's Vineyard, he could call in the sea gods to destroy him.
Yeah, no. John Kerry would call in like remnants of the Spanish. It would be like, you know, when in Lord of the Rings, when Aragorn has the ghost army.
Yeah, exactly.
I think John Kerry has that.
Yeah.
Except it's just the three guys who died in the perfect storm. It's just those three guys backing him up.
It's everyone who's ever died in the Heinz factory.
Well, I was going to say another reason to invite John Kerry to your party is that his wife is like the plug of all plugs when it comes to sauces.
It's true.
And thinks to dip a little, little hidden hot dog in.
Would you drink like a form of lean where they replace the Sprite with ketchup? Because that's what John Kerry's bringing to the table. I think I would. It's like
I would give it a shot for sure.
Yeah, no, I don't really like Sprite, so Can't imagine how gross it would be if it was dirty. No thanks, future.
Says here, Mr. Obama's decision to cut back the reported 475-person guest list, a number that Mr. Obama's camp never officially confirmed, was made almost a week after President Biden effectively conceded that the pandemic had come roaring back, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said the Delta variant was as contagious as chickenpox and more likely to break through vaccine protections than all other known versions of the virus. But as masks were put back on in many cities and anxieties rose, details of Mr. Obama's party continued to dribble out. Steven Spielberg was on the guest list, the New York Post reported, along with Bruce Springsteen, Mr. Obama's fellow Spotify-sponsored renegade, and George Clooney. An unsubstantiated rumor that Pearl Jam was to perform had to be officially knocked down by both a band representative and Mr. Obama's own planners. Part of a meat-free menu was being coordinated by the musician Questlove, a detail reported Friday by Bloomberg News.
This sounds like the shittiest party. This sounds like shit.
Not even any goddamn hot dogs? Fuck up.
No hidden hot dogs, just for all that Heinz ketchup. What do you? I take it back. What are you using Teresa Heinz for if it's going to be a vegetarian menu? What are you dipping?
Did you hear that? Like Nancy Pelosi got disinvited.
Yeah,
and then
she
ran
showed up
into each
anyway.
Other.
No, I don't know if she showed up at the party, but she was photographed on Martha's Vineyard, where she was just, I'll be damned if I'm not going to the island this weekend. I'm going to let these assholes know. Well, I'm doing just fine. I'm having a great time.
She probably walked from Marin County, like Junior in season 5. She was walking around, like looking for Barbara Mikulski's dad. She was trying to walk to Baltimore. My dad used to run this town. What? Are you lost, lady?
I do like though this is because it's like, like the decision to pare back the guest list. The reason that all his day ones got the axe was because they were like, oh God, is it going to look bad that we're having a birthday party for the number one special boy in the world, turning 60 on his $12 million estate in Martha's Vineyard that's filled with celebs and glitz and glamour at this exact moment? And it's just sort of like, let my man cook. Let him shine, right?
I mean, this didn't make me think that Obama's a bad person. I already thought that, and if you like Obama, this isn't really going to change your opinion on him. And like the COVID shit with it is like, okay, well, like even if you don't have this, like people are still going to fucking bars. People are still, you're really not putting the Delta variant toothpaste back in the tube. I don't think. I think it's probably a bit too late. I presume everyone there got vaccines. Live your life. But it's a perfect Obama thing because I guess if you have 500 people there, you look like an ostentatious asshole. But if you have 200, you look normal.
God, that's such a perfect Obama thing.
It's so
That was so when they were going to withdraw from Afghanistan, and then the general said, we actually need 40,000 more troops, and so instead of either doing that or committing to withdrawal, he goes, how about 20,000?
Exactly.
How about we do a thing that doesn't actually accomplish anything? It looks bad to have this fucking ostentatious bacchanalia in the middle of a fucking pandemic. What if it was slightly less ostentatious?
We're only going to have one guy who's wearing a goat head instead of 7. Okay, man. You're still a fucking asshole. You're still just a completely cold-blooded, awful person who's fucked over so many people who you've met along the way. You've fucked over so many Americans. I don't think you're a better guy for scaling back 300 people. And if you're going to be that guy, be that guy.
You're exactly right.
I think it would have been pretty cool if Reverend Wright had just shown up in the fan man outfit, just dropped onto the stage, scissor kicked Alicia Keys in the head, and just said, "God damn America!"
Reverend Wright is, man.
I mean, that was everything you needed to know about the Obungler.
Yeah,
was when he cut his throat. That's like, okay, this guy has no heart at all.
Squeeze that guy fucking dry. Reverend Wright, you are invited to my birthday party. I don't think you'll actually really want to come, but like I think you rock, sir. Well, I'm also a respected political figure from Hyde Park, Chicago, Illinois.
Well, you're right that the decision to you could either go ahead and continue to have your celebrity birthday bash or cancel it. And yeah, this is the perfect Obama moment because it's not like, because this makes you look like more of an asshole.
Yeah. Because
the story is about how so you wanted the party to go ahead, so you're like, okay, well let's just cut the guest list in half and just only invite the people we really care about. And it's not the guy who helped you become president. It's it's Dwayne Wade. It's Dwayne Wade and Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam.
Yeah. A lot of people who have known Obama for like 30 years just got the fucking axe for like USA Network stars. That's him. That's Obama, man. I mean, I guess in some ways this is the perfect celebration of him.
It says here, still, Democrats supportive of the former president privately expressed surprise at the casual disregard for optics and wondered why it took until just days before the party for Mr. Obama to change course. For his part, Mr. Obama was soliciting advice from his most trusted advisors about what the best path forward was for revamping a costly, logistically complicated party that had been months in the making. The former president had baseball caps made for the occasion that read 44 at 60. He also hired a COVID coordinator or compliance officer to ensure the safety.
God,
what a fucking
your fucking
loser.
uncle has better aesthetics and understandings of wordplay than that.
What a fucking loser. I know he's like a multi-millionaire with like a loving family who is president, but like just in his heart, what a fucking loser.
Yeah, because he cares about these assholes liking him. Like that's it, and that's pathetic.
That sucks, man.
That is pathetic at that point.
That sucks, man.
To care that much about this shit.
Going on, it says, Valerie Jarrett, one of Obama's closest friends and advisors, was in favor of scaling back the party, according to people familiar with the planning. Mr. Obama, those people said, agreed that if his party was becoming a distraction from the White House's messaging that everybody needed to get vaccinated and take extra precautions, he would adjust his plan. I fully support President Obama's decision, Ms. Jarrett said. So did many residents of the island. A lot of islanders were very upset at the prospect of hundreds of people coming over for a party, said Rose B. Styron, the poet and widow of the novelist William Styron, who said that she had been invited to a Friday night Obama birthday kickoff at the Winnetou Oceanside Resort. Everyone is getting very nervous about getting together at all. Wow, that's a real Sophie's choice, am I right? Woo! But I just like the idea that it's like, well, God, I mean, I wouldn't want my birthday party to get in the way of Joe Biden's agenda. Like that's why he made this decision a day or two before the beginning. Because like Obama doesn't give a shit about Joe Biden's agenda.
No.
I mean, it's just like he's like, oh wait, this might make us look bad, and it's just like. It's funny that Chrissy Teigen and John Legend were there because like Chrissy Teigen has like ruined her life because she's like convinced that like people do care if she's an asshole to people on Twitter, where it's like, no, you're rich, you're on the fucking guest list to Obama's birthday party. Like there's nothing you can do that really will, I don't know, turn people against you or that like really matters. Like you can just be evil. You can just enjoy being like a rich person who goes to parties like this in Martha's Vineyard.
I mean, like, I don't really, in the grand scale of things, I don't give a shit if she's personally nice or not, you know? It's like, if you're going to Obama's party, I think I've kind of figured out what type of person you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole thing with, like, the optics with COVID, I mean, yeah, I guess, but you're seeing what happens with everyone. Everyone has their thing that they think is, everyone past a certain income level gets to live, like, 70 to 80% of their original life in what you call an American lockdown, where everyone thinks their 70 or 80% is more justifiable than the next person's.
Right.
If it's not
I have an excuse. I have a reason
right.
to do this.
Right. If it's not going to a fucking bar and restaurant that are still open, it's, traveling a few times a year. And, at the end of the day, that's what we're always going to do.
No, I mean, it does seem like if they're stressing about the optics of this, which I understand. Like, I mean, it's sort of like it seems ridiculous, but like if you're in their position, optics is really all you have to work with, because like as we said, like every other solution seems to have been like already vetoed or just like, not a possibility. So if optics are all you're left with, then I agree, having a big fun birthday party for all your friends, and while at the same time you're telling people to put masks back on and like, cut back on their summer plans or whatever. I can imagine that would be a problem for the Biden administration and the Democrats in general. But did you guys see from the memo from the desk of the former president Donald Trump? He had a statement this weekend where he was like, "Could you imagine if a coronavirus pandemic happened on my watch?"
I love him, dude.
He was like, "Could you imagine if you were seeing this under if I was still president? Like how the media would be covering it?"
He's been awesome lately. Like when he was like, "I developed the vaccine. I did a perfect job at that. Everyone's really happy with the vaccine itself, but like now people don't want to take it because like Joe Biden's so weird."
Well, I mean,
that's a great.
I don't know. I think the thing he said made sense to me. He said, "I made this perfect vaccine, but now the government that's telling you to get it is the same one that stole the election from me." And the thing is, what is the percentage of Republican voters who think the election was stolen? Like 80 or something like that. Like they do think that a giant fraud was just perpetrated on them, and then right on the heels of it, the illegitimate government tells you to get a vaccine. You're going to have to, as a matter of like identity and principle and like all the things that we wrap up in like the very thin shred of like personal autonomy that we get is wrapped up in things like this. We're not going to do it. We're going to say no because they fucking stole the election. Why the hell wouldn't they give us 28 weeks later zombie juice instead of a vaccine? That's why I do really wonder what would have happened with the vaccine if Trump had won, because you already saw when he was flogging the vaccine right before the election, some of the people who got into Q and stuff from health and from wellness communities feeling betrayed, and I do wonder how they would manage the dissonance of that, of like him embracing this thing that in every other respect has all of the markings of something that is the work of their enemies and that they
Operation Warp Speed. Operation Warp Speed created the beautiful, wonderful vaccine for this deadly virus that everyone who is inclined to give Trump credit for that already believes is like the mark of the beast. So he's just like, look, I know the number of the beast. You will need it to buy or sell anything. And that's because of me. Where do I get? Where's my credit? Where's my birthday party? And that's the funny thing about Trump is that exactly like Obama, all he wanted out of being president was to be liked and respected by people like Bruce Springsteen, Eddie Vedder, and Dwayne Wade.
And he was always pissed because he had to put up with like the fucking
Ted
Dog
Nugent.
the Bounty Hunter and John Voight.
Diamond and Silk.
Yeah, no, I mean they're goofus and gallant, but after the same goal.
Yeah,
Obama just did it in the correct, most efficient way. And like Trump did it in the way that like kind of a child does it, where you're just like yelling at someone to be your friend. Like, no, Don Cheadle, you have to like me.
I just like last time from this New York Times article here. I thought it was very telling. It says, blah, blah, blah. Unlike Mrs. Styron, Mr. Taylor says he's been looking forward to the party. He has 20 plus acres of land, and everyone was going to be outside. He said, "You're dealing with a sophisticated crowd. I think the concerns were a little bit overblown. Look, this is a sophisticated crowd. It's a 20-acre estate, so these small-minded concerns about COVID and hypocrisy and things like that don't really apply."
They drink their adrenochrome smoothies with their pinky extended.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you.
All right. Well, that's the Obama birthday party news. Like I said, I had a great time. So
me too.
Yeah, wish I could have made it.
All right. Well, moving on. There's another story from the New York Times this week I want to talk about. This is a this is a topic we've discussed before. I think it's like probably my favorite current ongoing story. I'm referring, of course, to the host of sympathetic ailments suffered by the strivers in our State Department and CIA that is now referred to as Havana Syndrome. Havana Syndrome, this is a serious issue that, more and more people are talking about, and the government is getting more and more concerned in figuring out just what the hell is going on. Now, I love this story because I don't know who said this, but it's 100% true. The Havana Syndrome is the cop who touches fentanyl and ODs story for deep state operatives.
Yeah. Everyone has one. It's just like everything else. Everyone has their own ridiculous thing that they do that is a mirror image of itself.
And like the fentanyl OD stories are like every bit as spurious. And like I said, like I love this New York Times story just because of like it basically says like in the first paragraph that like despite the best efforts of every single person who's investigated this, they're like, there's actually no evidence of this happening, or like at least not microwave radiation being the cause of it. But the article then goes on to take all of it like very seriously. So let's just take a look into this article. Headline: Mystery attacks on diplomats leave scores of victims, but still little evidence. While the leading theory in the Havana Syndrome cases is directed microwave attacks, a classified session for senior government officials said months of investigation were inconclusive. Okay, so like that's the headline. And then the article is going to go on to treat this as anything other than inconclusive, or just like, okay, well, if everyone has looked into this and they found no evidence to suggest that our diplomats are getting shot with invisible microwave lasers, you'd think that they would have a little bit more skepticism. But you know what? Like when these people whine, the New York Times listens because, that's how it works. It says here, President Biden's top aides were told on Friday that experts studying the mysterious illness affecting scores of diplomats, spies, and their family members were still struggling to find evidence to back up the leading theory that microwave attacks are being launched by Russian agents. The report came in an unusual classified meeting called by the Director of National Intelligence, Avril D. Haines, according to several senior administration officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity. The purpose of the meeting was to assess the investigations and efforts to treat victims of the so-called Havana Syndrome, the unexplained headaches, dizziness, and memory loss reported by scores of State Department officials, CIA officers, and their families. I mean, like, I don't know. Do you think there's a simpler explanation for why scores of CIA operatives and their families feel bad all the time?
There is, yeah. I think that's the next thing is just like people in the security apparatus, whether they're local cops or CIA operatives, experiencing symptoms of depression or just panic attacks and blaming either fentanyl or Cuban microwave technology.
Yeah, no one can accept that maybe the thing you're doing every day that make the world worse is also making you kind of sad. Nope. There's a Russian space laser, and honestly, same thing with the electoral meddling theory. If the Russians are not only able to use Facebook ads to seize the presidency of the United States, but they can create a machine that has no scientific basis, apparently.
Yes, yeah.
Then we should just surrender to them.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
I mean, even if this was real and they were doing this, like, I wouldn't feel bad about them. Don't go there. Don't go there. You're only going there to do bad stuff. Like no, if they actually had this and they were shooting it at you and they were giving you chronic Lyme disease, I'd be like, yeah,
yes,
good.
Yes. No, I like, because, like at no point in any of these accounts of like, you hear like, Russia has a secret microwave laser that they're using to cook the brains of our spies in Havana. Well, it's like, at no point, like when I hear that headline, I'm immediately getting excited because I'm thinking of the scene in Scanners where the guy's head explodes, and it's like, no, like, they have a laser that makes you feel like, I don't know, like itchy, tired, mild memory loss, slight nausea, like weeks after you reportedly were encountered with it. It's just like, well, I mean, that's not a very good fucking assassination device or, piece of counter espionage or whatever. And two, it's like, how bad can I feel for the people involved here when these are the fucking symptoms? I
mean, it is funny to think that they spent like, I would estimate the cost of like developing and maintaining this weapon would be like $2 or $3 trillion. Spending $2 or $3 trillion on like a special death ray that only gives you mild depression and diarrhea.
It gives you an upset tummy for an evening.
Yeah. That would be, I mean, I'd like to see it.
No, but
again, I hope they actually did it.
Go to Cuba, in order to smuggle genetically altered cane toads into their sugar fields to destroy their crops. And for my efforts, I get to feel itchy and have a hard time falling asleep.
Yeah,
this is not justice.
You
should be happy that's all you walked away with.
You got off light.
Yeah.
And Matt, to your point, this gets more apparent as the story goes on, but exactly like the fucking Navy UFO disclosures. If this is Russian technology that has no technological or scientific basis that anyone can discern because it's literally physically impossible, and they have it and we don't, then fuck it. They won. I mean, shit.
Well, I hope this is the basis for a war. I hope it takes nukes out of the equation, because then I would be Solid Snake. They'd be you're the one man who's had the most ambient sort of bad feeling and most diarrhea. Who's of military age. You have to go over there.
You have an immunity.
Face the diarrhea ray.
Listen to this, though. It says, this is a top priority for the intelligence community, he said. This is Timothy Barrett, Assistant Director of National Intelligence.
We got nothing else going on.
Yeah, this is a top priority for the intelligence community.
Slow day at work. We couldn't win the big game in Venezuela.
I mean, honestly, that fentanyl mostly sells itself at this point. We don't have to do a lot there.
I mean,
we've lost every big game except for fentanyl sales. None of our viral posts are really hidden anymore.
I mean, the Cuba protests have gone away. No one's those literally they're not happening anymore. No one gives a shit. Israel isn't bombing Gaza anymore, so anti-Semitism ceased to be the top threat to the world and America. That's gone away. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, yeah, the microwave radiation. Listen to this. It says here, and we are supporting an NSC-led effort to get answers, take care of our people, and prevent future incidents. The meeting included Secretary of State Anthony J. Blinken, Attorney General Merrick B. Garland, the CIA Director William J. Burns, and the FBI Director Christopher A. Wray. Those are 4 of the most powerful people in our government having a special meeting about this made-up nonsense.
I can't imagine anything else that Merrill Grantland should be doing. I mean, it's not like the Biden's voters have been complaining about the main thing, voter suppression at all. I mean, at least just fucking drop the case against NBA YoungBoy. Do something.
I do love the
he's doing this
science, and meanwhile, we have all of our top deep state demons coming together to talk about Operator Morgellons.
Yeah, yeah.
The high-ranking nature of the session was an indication of how quickly the attacks, which date to 2016, have risen from a medical mystery to an urgent national security issue. Mm-hmm. Biden administration officials say they were shocked at how disorganized the government response was over the past 4 years, in part because there was no central way for departments to share reports of the episodes, and because many of the targets were intelligence officers whose identities and locations could not be revealed. I mean, I think the main clearinghouse for these information were just Facebook groups from the wives of CIA guys. They're
that's like
Mumsnet for these people, and this is their central warehouse of data.
That is like saying that the CIA can't find the boogeyman because of how convoluted government procurement is. We're not communicating well enough to look under the bed at the right time.
Under the Trump administration, NORAD has let their Santa Santa tracking program go to shit. We have no idea what he's up to.
Ever since 2018, the CIA has lost track of Slender Man. He could be anywhere. It's really scary.
It's a December 2020 study of the causes by the National Academy of Sciences concluded that microwave attacks were the most likely the cause. Mm-hmm. But Biden administration officials say the group had no access to classified information.
Because they're
what classified information? Yeah.
They
yes.
I mean, I don't really care one way or the other. I hope this causes a deep state war between everything QAnon talked about, where there was a firefight in Germany where Gina Haspel was killed. Yeah. I hope that actually happens between the part of the CIA that's no, you guys are stupid. What the fuck are you talking about? And then the elder millennial CIA people who are no, I have chronic fatigue syndrome from the Cuban microwave.
Yeah,
it's all gonna actually happen.
I like the idea that like these are millennial spooks who are just like, I'm tired, and like coming up with bogus diseases to get out of doing work.
Yeah,
I have the microwave syndrome. I can't come in today.
That's the next Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's about like a plucky CIA officer who wants to like go to an Alanis Morissette concert, but he like they're like, no, we need you to fucking like blow up a Houthi kindergarten, and he's like, I've come down with microwave fatigue.
At the meeting called by Ms. Haynes on Friday, the expert groups reported that the leading theory remained that microwave beams were aimed at government buildings and residences, either as a part of an espionage effort or as a deliberate attempt to hit American officials with a debilitating, invisible, and hard-to-trace weapon. It's just like...
I'm sorry, that can't be the leading theory because the device does not exist.
And by the way, at no point in this article did the New York Times seek comment from anyone who is an expert in the field of microwave emissions or radiation.
It is exactly like the cop fentanyl thing. Like they'll say, "Oh, this cop looked at fentanyl and he fucking had a overdose," and then doctors will just say, "You can't, that's impossible," and it just doesn't even enter into the fucking discussion at all. That it's literally there is no known method for that to happen. Like there is no known technological way to make this happen.
I mean, yeah, this I
have a lung illness from fumes from the infinite candy machine. Can you please research this?
I mean, I like the theory offered by our good friend Dan Kay, who's like every cop that ODs on fentanyl just did a line just to see what it would be like, and then it's just their friends covering for them. Be like, oh, he was exposed to it by accident. They did a cheeky little bump and then fell out, and then they were like, "Oh no, well fuck." I think
the breakdown for cops and fentanyl, it's like some of them just want attention. They're not doing anything. They just want to like freak out and want everyone to give them attention. Some of them are like just fucking head cases, and they've heard other like bullshit stories about people collapsing from seeing fentanyl, and they're like, "Oh,"
and they just freak out. Yeah.
And then the third is like what Dan said. You know, they're just fucking ripping a line.
They're just drug addicts.
Yeah. But I think with the CIA, it's 100% people who want attention.
Yeah. Because I mean, yeah, these are the Ivy League striving type. I mean, like that's how you end up at an embassy in Havana or whatever. I mean, so like during the Cold War, right? And I would assume even to this day, like at like the major hotels of like every sort of like major capital city in the world, I would imagine that every suite has like multiple bugs planted there by numerous intelligence agencies, many of whom probably don't even exist anymore. But yeah, like they've got most of those nice rooms wired for sound in one way or another. I do like the idea though that like the new thing now, I guess in Havana, or if you're overseas, is that they just build every hotel room is just actually just a microwave. And like you open the door and like a minute counter starts and popcorn kernels in your pocket start going off.
You're sitting there on your bed. You're like, why am I turning? What's going on?
Yeah.
It's like Kramer when he lived near the Kenny Rogers.
They're just like, we don't know where the microwaves are coming from. And yet your bed is turning around. A light goes on randomly.
Yep. Like every educated person whose life depends on making the world worse also, as a result of that, has like an ambient sense of anxiety and feeling bad. And depending on what their job is and who their coworkers and what their context is, they're going to find an explanation for it that does not actually address the cause. And if you're a little CIA person doing spy versus spy shit, and you're pretending you're in a Le Carré novel, you know what it is? It's a Russian space beam. That's got to be it. And then everyone else will be like, yes, that's exactly what it is. I know exactly what you mean. I had that too.
It says here, it is possible that this began as an espionage effort that turned into a stealthy means of attack, one former official one official familiar with the investigation said. The official noted that microwave technology had been used over the years by American adversaries to try to recreate documents by detecting the emissions of typewriters and then computer keyboards, and later to pick up cell phone communications. But the frustrating part is that there is still no definitive conclusion, the official said, that would enable the president to call out the Russians the way he has with cyber attacks. So, like, they're just having these, like, fucking, like, like top level classified meetings with the head of the CIA, the head of the FBI, the head of the Justice Department, and like the head of the National Security Council. So they're like, we need to find an excuse believable enough to like blame Russia for this shit.
And I like the comparison to the cyber attacks, because apparently when they saw each other at the G7, Biden told Putin what technological infrastructure was off limits to cyber attacks, which is pretty funny when you think about it. But I like that he's got these guys in the CIA who are telling the White House that Biden needs to sit down with Putin and say, okay, the following agents are off limits for making them sad with a robot. You cannot use microwaves to make the following people sad. Below that, yes, but nobody above this level you can make sad with an X-ray machine.
I mean, like, if you are a CIA deep state ghoul and operative, like, doesn't this shit embarrass you? Like, I mean, like, during the Cold War, like, if you were, like, in East Germany or something, they would just, like, capture you, torture you, and then, like, put your body in a fucking, like, in a fucking kiln and turn you into dust, and no one would ever hear from you again. And now it's like their covert death weapon is just basically like a YouTube prank. Social experiment, making CIA agents like have diarrhea. You know what I mean? And like, and then now you have to complain about this publicly. I mean, like, even if you believe this were true, like, isn't there something to be said for putting up a sort of a stoic front? Yeah. Especially when these stakes we're talking about are just literally like mild irritation and depression.
Yeah,
it's the last real weapon we have, though. Is one.
Yeah.
That's it. It's the only strategic.
You would not see Ted Shackley do this. You would not see Edwin P. Wilson do this. Edwin P. Wilson would have been like, "Oh, you gave me chronic fatigue with a microwave. I'm gonna go get another bag. Gonna make another few million selling Semtex to Libyans."
Is that when these guys felt like this, they could just say, "Oh, right, DTs. I haven't had a martini in 3 hours."
Exactly.
Well, maybe they've always had this, and the only cure is to drink like 2 liters of liquor a day.
That's right.
Yeah, they need to become alcoholics again.
Yeah, and like the Russians and the Cubans were like just blasting Angleton's house with X-rays, and they're like, "What the fuck? It's like not doing anything."
It's like, oh shit, he's in there giving Kim Philby a pony ride, and they don't mind at all. It's like, oh, that's because they were pickled in gin.
Yeah. Just like stay well lubricated with like 3 quarts of scotch a day. The microwave rays don't work.
Now, the new type of person in the CIA is the person who's like, sign that I'm officially 30. I have 2 beers and I had a headache. It's like, drink more, you fucking pussy.
Yeah, shut up and drink.
Yeah, you want to stand up to the Russians? You want to defend democracy from like Facebook ads? Fucking grab that gin, pussy.
Yep. No craft beers.
That's like their
clear or brown alcohol only.
Their biggest indulgence is like craft beers and like a chopped Creative Salad Company salad. That's not protecting you from X-rays. Like liquor is from the earth. It's the only natural protection against X-rays.
I like it.
That's why the TSA doesn't let you be drunk in line. Because they want to kill you with X-rays. They fear the drunk American.
I like here. If you go further into the article, though, and it goes on and on, but it just says here, at some point it just says some officials suspect that along with Russia, Iran may be responsible for some attacks. But there is also focus on Cuba, China, and other nations. So it's like, okay, we've narrowed down the list of suspects here. So not only do we not know how these supposed invisible weapons exist, we don't even know what country is responsible, but we're pretty sure it's probably Russia, Iran, China, and various other nations. Just fill it in there yourself. They all have access to this secret technology.
So they all work together on like the only weapon of its type to ever exist, and there were no leaks ever. There were no reports about it. There was nothing about this like in the CIA. They weren't like, oh yeah, we forgot. They developed a secret like death depression weapon. And they all, China, Russia, Iran, and Cuba all work together over the course of, this would presumably take like 30 years. No one heard anything about it, ever.
Yeah,
no defector said anything, nothing.
Yeah, and the idea that like some super secret deadly weapon was developed for the purpose of assassination that like the CIA didn't have a hand in funding or using at some point, even if our ostensible enemies were also using it.
Yeah, this is like, to believe them, this is like, you would find like the death ray weapon, the one of one, the only one of its kind that exists. the like theoretical energy weapon that everyone's been trying to create and can't, you'd find it in like a locker on Storage Wars. Just lying around. Everyone just has one lying around. Everyone but us. We don't have one. We have no capability of like giving the Iranians depression.
Yeah. I mean, and again, like it's so funny because, you know, when you think invisible microwave ray, you obviously think death ray, like cool sci-fi shit. And this is not even anywhere within 1,000 miles of that. Within 8,000 miles.
They probably saw like an interview with like some shitty comedian where he's like, I wouldn't wish depression on my worst enemy. But then they're like, oh, but I would. Start the research.
Just closing out this article here, it says, speaking for the White House, a senior administration official said the National Security Council was leveraging a broad array of scientific and medical expertise from within the government and outside of it to explore multiple hypotheses and generate new insights into the episodes to protect our personnel and identify who or what is responsible. One element of that effort, officials say, is to develop portable sensors that could be widely distributed to detect attacks. But I mean, like, just think about all the people who are going to now make money selling a fucking like a hokum cure to detect the invisible microwave radiation that nobody can prove even exists in the first place.
This is Jim Baker apocalypse buckets for fucking NatSec libs. You know what? Go crazy. You know, buy all the repurposed Ghost Hunters equipment. I don't give a shit.
It says, but it is hard to ensure that the sensors will work, one official said, without any certainty that the microwaves are the cause of the unexplained illnesses. And even if they are the cause, the sensors would have to be able to pick up signals across a large part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Well, don't let that stop you. Invest now in spurious microwave death ray sensor technology. Protect yourself and your family on any overseas trip. No longer just for CIA operatives. It is available to any American traveler.
We got to get in on that. You need to invest because they're going to end up like mandating one of those things in every embassy in the world. And then in all the airports, it's like as useful as a fucking as an X-ray machine.
Once these
and probably costs like 5 times as much. Got to get in on that.
Once these hit the consumer market, I'm downloading Nextdoor again because I want to see like in like upper middle class neighborhoods, people are going to accuse each other of shooting X-rays at each other.
Oh my god, yes.
Like that's the next thing. That's the next like homeowners association thing. If you live in like a solidly blue like suburban county, everyone is going to be accusing each other of this.
Oh God, yes.
Oh my god, yeah, that is. It's just another thing to whine about. Another thing that doesn't exist. But it doesn't exist, but it provides a very handy explanation for why you are miserable all the time. And by the way, it's your neighbors doing it to you.
Yeah.
Oh man,
this is the perfect thing for us.
Yeah, you're right.
This is exactly what we need.
Havana Syndrome is the perfect made up bullshit for contemporary Americans to be afraid of. I mean, that's why, like I said, the head of the FBI and the CIA are having like top level meetings about this bullshit because it's so perfect. It's so perfect. It is so us. It is so America in 2021.
This is us.
This is us.
This is us.
This is us. Goddamn. Well, you know, like I said, stay on the lookout for that. Russia and their chronic Lyme disease. Chronic Lyme projector, yeah. All right. Finally, we got to talk about, just rounding out today's show, we got to talk about, obviously, Cuomo, still governor of New York, still hanging in there.
Holding on for dear life.
He's still hanging in there. But I got to say, ever since our last episode, like I have not stopped thinking about Andrew Cuomo as some sort of lonely Nosferatu, as just like a Dracula who, instead of being like, I never drink wine, he's like, you know, got a cape on and he's like, where is my hug? Who's got the hug for me? So
I need a lap companion.
But I just want to note here that some of his top aides, including this woman, Melissa Rosa, resigned as his secretary today. And just as as fans of Notes app apologies on the internet, this is a good one I'd want to share with you guys.
I was shit.
Yeah, this is
we both thought of that when we saw this.
It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve the people of New York for the past 10 years. New Yorkers' resilience, strength, and optimism through the most difficult times has inspired me every day. Personally, the past 2 years have been emotionally and mentally trying. I am forever grateful for the opportunity to have worked on such a talented and committed with such talented and committed colleagues on behalf of our state. I just like that where it's just like the last 2 years of my life have been a fucking nightmare. I can't deal with it anymore.
I can't imagine why you feel bad after these 2 years.
I mean,
Did
Jesus
you do anything
Christ.
bad?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like she was instrumental in attacking many of Cuomo's accusers.
I can't help but feel guilty defending the guy who like killed every old person in New York, attacking the women he tried to hug.
You know what? I feel so bad that there might be some sort of X-ray machine.
Yeah.
Microwaving me.
I'm surprised she didn't go with that.
She really should have.
This comes, of course, another news story about Roberta Kaplan, the chairwoman of the Time's Up organization and Legal Defense Fund, just resigned from that organization after it came out that she also played a pivotal role in helping Andrew Cuomo discredit one of his alleged victims. So, I mean, can you believe people got mad at us and we said Democrats killed the Me Too movement to make Joe Biden president? I mean, it was probably for like less strategic reasons than that, but I mean, come on, it's a very easy irony here, but I mean, it's right there for the taking. So yeah. I mean, why not make note of it? But I do want to talk about like what I'm going to go with on the Andrew Cuomo issue is there is starting out with the reading series today. This is courtesy of the New Yorker. The headline is "Diving into the Subconscious of the Cuomosexual." How could we have witnessed the governor's narcissism, bullying, and hackneyed paternalism and found these qualities attractive? A psychoanalyst gives her take.
Oh, we is a pretty generous pronoun here. Yeah.
A lot of work, but keep in mind that this is in the New Yorker, and it seems insane to us, but let's just say for the audience that they're pitching to, I mean, like this is this is a crisis of conscience. How did we all get on board with the Cuomosexual phenomenon, and then obviously it looks bad now. It doesn't look great.
Would they ever write this article about Giuliani? Because the whole time with Cuomo, I've just been seeing Giuliani. I've been seeing Giuliani with like a different type of big ugly face, and I have to say this happened a lot quicker than I thought it would. I thought like last time it would take place over the course of a decade. It did not even take that long, but they would just not even acknowledge us, Giuliani.
All right, well, this is okay. What is why it's just why do women like bad boys so much is really the
why don't they like a nice guy like Jay Inslee?
Yeah, exactly. He's got glasses. He cares about global warming. He's not sexually harassing anyone. No,
remember he was a daddy.
Okay, I'll think of a different guy. You know who's like had some problems? It's J.B. Pritzker, he's jester maxing. Who I think is like a catch. I think JB's a fucking catch.
So yeah,
he's jester maxing, and no one's like, I want to sit on JB's huge body, but you should want to. He's the man.
I want to lay on him like he's a beanbag chair.
He's awesome. It's big boy season
once again,
or it should be.
Nice guys finish last, but this article. Honestly, this article is like the New Yorker's attempt to, for the first time ever, grapple with some of life's grim and brutal truths.
Okay.
So here we go. What are we to make of the Cuomosexual phenomenon? Of the fact that just a year ago, much of blue state America was lusting after Governor Andrew Cuomo, who have since been accused of sexual harassment by at least 11 women. The erotic interest was documented in a Jezebel article. Help, I think I'm in love with Andrew Cuomo, written during the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, as President Trump was telling the nation's governors to find their own respirators and ventilators, and an anxious city was finding solace in Cuomo's daily press briefings. The term Cuomosexual was popularized in a song called Andy by the comedian Randy Rainbow, set to the tune of Sandy from the musical Grease. Lyrics here, "Oh, Andy, baby, you're so strong and rational. From now on, I identify as a Cuomosexual."
You run my state while I gain weight with grace and dignity. Oh, please be my dad. Oh, Andy.
Rainbow's
Those are two things I think of with Cuomo. Like strong, definitely. Takes a lot of strength to like go up to a 24-year-old and be like, "I'm very lonely." And rational. Is there anyone else who could have solved the elderly question in New York?
the EQ.
Yeah.
I like how you say, it says here in parentheses, it just says Rainbow's video has been viewed more than 2 million times on YouTube. I'm like, wow, I'm surprised it's still up. The governor presented himself as an alternative to Trump, and New Yorkers embraced the comparison, swooning over Cuomo's Queen's accent and his tough guy shtick. "Forget bodyguards," he said of Trump. "He better have an army if he thinks he's going to walk down any street in New York." We basked in his awkward displays of affection, looking into a camera and telling New Yorkers, "I miss you. I love you. I am thinking of you."
Fucking a lonely old perv. Jesus, dude.
Basking in that, man.
Oh, God.
We smiled at his on-screen banter with his brother Chris Cuomo, the muscle-bound CNN. Muscle-bound? Muscle-bound? What are you talking about?
What the fuck are you saying?
I have never thought for a second of muscle-bound as like a first adjective I would think of when thinking of Chris Cuomo.
Who the fuck are these people hanging around with?
Yeah.
Where that fucking pencil neck on CNN is like some rippling man flesh. What the
It
fuck?
says, and of course, giggled at his dad jokes about serving spaghetti and meatballs to his adult daughters and a boyfriend. I mean, that's just one person. That's one person.
Yeah.
They're
That's one
referring
second.
to
One
there.
person.
That's particular.
That
human.
person loved it. It was
Yeah.
the best thing that ever happened to her.
Just clapping like a seal. Those spaghetti and meatballs.
They should this would be such a good article if they only interviewed her.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I would like to know what Jennifer Rubin is feeling about Cuomo right now.
Like, if you wanted to, like, do some journalism and really delve into the mind of someone who truly is sprung for Andrew Cuomo, then Jay Rubin is like the number one person that you
Yeah.
have to tap.
She was like, everyone talks about spaghetti and meatballs, and that's probably the best reply of all time. I think we've got to say that's just the best one.
Yeah,
it
untouchable.
contains the most art. But like, even like when Cuomo would post like other shit, like, remember to be safe out there. We're the best when we're looking out for each other. Like she was just like, my husband's out of town this week. Please, please.
It goes here. Celebrities such as Ellen DeGeneres and Trevor Noah announced their Cuomosexuality. The New York fashion brand Lingua Franca produced a $400 sweater with Cuomosexual embroidered on the front, while other vendors slapped the slogan on cocktails, underwear, and baby tees. That all seems...
That's who they're for, babies. You were a baby if you were into this at all. If you're even charmed by Andrew Cuomo in any way, you are an infant.
That all seems like a long time ago. This was 5 months ago at most.
Yeah.
At most. I know, like, this a year ago. A year ago is like the longest you could stretch that. I mean, I know time has sort of collapsed and dilated in such a strange way that it no longer has meaning. But it's just like this idea that, like, remember ages ago when everyone got horny for Andrew Cuomo despite his like obviously repellent qualities and like obvious bizarre issues with women
And his
his
face?
just general
Yeah.
looks.
He killed the silent generation. There's no more of them in New York. Like, come on.
In December, Lindsay Boylan, a former state economic development official, accused Cuomo of sexually harassing her over a period of several years. Several of the governor's ex-aides followed suit. Earlier this week, New York's Attorney General Letitia James released the findings of a 5-month-long inquiry into Cuomo's conduct. The 165-page report paints a portrait of a man who casually degrades women around him, commenting on their clothes, hair, and sexual attractiveness, and doling out humiliating nicknames like Sponge, Mingle Mamas, and Daisy Duke, encouraging others to join in.
Mingle Mamas?
Mingle Mamas and Sponge.
There should be
Mama.
there should be a federal investigation over to whether Andrew Cuomo has ever had sex. If Merrill Garland isn't doing anything else, at least do that. I'm just curious.
He torments a female state trooper assigned to his security detail, and at one point jokes to Boylan, "If I was the dog, I'd mount you too." It's just like,
damn, dude, how'd you not get any pussy off this? Why were you so lonely with lines like this?
The report also includes allegations of forcible kissing, groping, and unwanted touching, all of which Cuomo has denied. That is just not who I am. Since the report's release, virtually all of Cuomo's political allies have abandoned him, and President Biden has called for his resignation. It's looking increasingly likely that he'll be the first New York governor in a century to get impeached. Conservatives have been quick to celebrate Cuomo's reputational implosion. Others are now scolding the self-proclaimed Cuomosexuals. A Twitter user named P.E. Moskowitz wrote, "If you bought a Cuomosexual mug or sticker, like, what did you do with it? Is it sitting in the back of your closet, and every time you see it, you feel deep shame?" The Washington Post ran an op-ed titled, "The Cuomosexual phenomenon was disgraceful. We're politicians' bosses, not their fans." Some Cuomosexuals have responded with contrition. "I regret ever saying I was a Cuomosexual," one man tweeted. Randy Rainbow deleted his tweet with the Andy video. For many of us, reading the AG's report and listening to the governor's cynical denials spurs a kind of embarrassed clarity, similar to the feeling one experiences after running into an old ex. How could we have witnessed these same qualities in Cuomo's case, the narcissism, the bullying, the hackneyed paternalism, and found them attractive?
You're a baby. End of article.
In search of an answer, I contacted Virginia Goldner, a psychoanalyst who has written about sexual harassment. She author of the book Pleasure Can Hurt: The Erotic Politics of Sexual Coercion, published last year in an issue of Psychoanalytic Dialogues. Goldner, a clinical professor at NYU, co-founded an academic journal called Studies in Gender and Sexuality and appears on the Showtime series Couples Therapy. She has some reassuring words for the Cuomosexuals who are in a shame spiral right now. The governor was up to something in those press conferences. He was radiating an eroticized masculinity that within its hostility and a little tenderness, she said.
Sorry, what?
What's up, man?
He was radiating an eroticized masculinity that has within its hostility and a little tenderness, she said. That combination of soft and hard, mostly hard, but also soft, is what so many women crave in some way, she said. She called it the retrosexual part of us, the part that was raised with the image of the big, square daddy lover figure, even if we've never actually had one.
He's a 60-year-old gnome. Yeah. What the fuck are you talking about?
Have you seen what his dad looks like? I mean, Jesus
They're
Christ.
a family of hobbits. Like, what the fuck are you saying?
This is what I mean. This is an article about how, women say they like a sense of humor, but, I'm out here fucking striking out every day.
Yeah. No,
what they really want is a big, brooding, masculine man like Andrew Cuomo. Lifelong politician and like halfling. What the fuck?
Andrew Cuomo goes into the ICU whenever he has to pick up a 12-pack. Who did he read his masculine to?
Just these people who live in the fully domesticated life, I guess.
It would make sense if you grew up on a compound that was run by people from a Digimon forum. I guess if that was the first man you saw outside, you'd be like, oh my God. It's like a bowl. So
it says here, she noted that a lot of gay men respond to the fantasy too. That's a figure that could easily be hot to a man. Yeah, like a daddy, a sort of leather daddy figure. I mean, he's got the pierced nipple, apparently. I mean, that's the hardness that they're talking about, the piece of metal jutting out of his nipple.
Goddamn, I really hope that's a pierced nipple. Because if it's not,
yeah, you see a dot.
He just has ricotta curdles for nipples.
Goldner went on to untangle some of the more baffling behavior in the AG's report. Why would an eligible bachelor who could presumably date any woman he wanted choose to kiss, grope, and flirt with office underlings against their will? Why would
a bad person?
Yeah, he gets off on making people uncomfortable.
Exactly, because when you
the same reason that he calls legislatures is I'm gonna put a hit on you. He's just like a shitty fucking bullying asshole with like zero redeeming qualities. Who gets off on seeing
because he probably doesn't get off on getting laid. He gets off on fucking like abusing his power in ways that make people uncomfortable.
In March of 2020, Andrew Cuomo could pull like any like new school snatch he wanted. I'm serious. Like he could.
Oh yeah,
dude. He just like opened his DMs. Like some girl whose like job is to like dust dinosaur bones and has $70,000 worth of medical debt. Like any girl with like a sort of Carrie from Mythbusters look that we talk about a lot. Like he could have just fucking pulled. He could have put up wilt numbers. But no, he likes making people feel bad.
And not just any people who work for him.
Yes.
Like that's a crucial component in the type of person he is. So it says here, why would a skilled politician risk it all to stroke the stomach of a state trooper or to make lewd comments to a doctor who is giving him a COVID swab? And then apparently the comment he said to a doctor giving him a COVID swab was gentle but accurate. I've heard that before. What? Like I don't even, like it doesn't even make sense.
What are you talking about? What the fuck are like? He's never had sex. That's it. Like what? Like everyone compliments me on the how accurate my dick is. I almost never hit the thighs or belly button. What the fuck are you saying, man?
Was he actually trying to seduce these women? Probably not, Goldner said. Sexual harassment is not so much about sexual satisfaction. That's not necessarily the goal. Instead, it's a kind of sadomasochistic flirtation. The harasser enjoys creating sexual tension in the workplace, but what he really likes to do is psychological torment. Okay, so like, yeah, they are getting to the heart of the matter here. Going on, it says... That's Goldner's take, anyhow. Cuomo's own explanation is that his conduct was innocent. He grew up in a household where kissing and touching were the norm. I actually learned it from my mother and from my father, he said earlier this week. It is meant to convey warmth, nothing more. But Goldner suggested that the AG's report shows a disturbing pattern. Someone that sadistic who wanted to make everyone shake in their boots, men as well as women, he must have been in some way wanting other people to suffer because of some internal trouble. She quoted a line from her essay. The sexual harasser is repeatedly turning the dreaded risk of becoming a defeated bottom into the edgy high of being a top. She went on, he must have had some sense of defeated bottomness. Otherwise, he wouldn't have harassed people so compulsively. She's lost me. She was talking sense, and now I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. Cuomo is a defeated bottom who is using his defeated bottomness to thwart others. Yeah. It's gone off the rails. I mean, this is back to the talking about his eroticized masculinity.
Who's he bottoming for?
I don't know.
The American people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So it says here, the Cuomosexual is dead, and with it, the fantasy that the governor conjured on television, the tough and tender protector, the daddy lover head of state who will save us from both COVID-19 and Donald Trump. What will take its place? Probably panic about being killed by a microwave. Probably that's what will take its place.
That's what's great about this country. There's always a new thing.
Yep. Goldner wasn't sure, but she wasn't thrilled that the word Cuomophobia had started to appear on Twitter. That character, the character Cuomo played on television, was a lie, but that retro masculinity has a lot to admire, she said. We shouldn't bury our Cuomosexuality. We should examine it. We can still love those dimensions of masculinity and ask ourselves, what are they and how did they get corrupted? I come not to bury the Cuomosexual, but to praise him.
Okay.
But I mean, again, I just astonishing that this is being written. That everything other than the part about what a sadistic freak he is, that every other description of him in that article it's essentially taken at face value. But I mean, whatever. I guess this is describing a way a lot of people felt.
I am curious though, like for what comes, like because in the last like few years, the thing with like the liberal polity is that whenever there's a guy who you think is like somewhat competent, the thing becomes that you want to fuck them. Like that was
like
the
Dr.
thing with Fauci and like even Biden. I mean, there's a lot of like displaced like sexual mania after Cuomo.
Absolutely.
And there's always going to be another guy. I think it might be someone safe like Mark Warner.
He is a goddamn dime, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's so hot.
He's a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus.
Just a melting Frankenstein.
Yeah. But yeah, people will always like invent a new thing. Like it'll be like some like piece of shit like Dick Durbin. And they'll be like, oh yeah, no, women actually like psychologically need to fuck a guy who's like Gil from The Simpsons. Like looks exactly like him if he was real.
Sounds like him too.
Yeah.
Don't I get a lick? Doesn't Gil get a lick?
We have a sort of subconscious desire, even against our better nature, to want to couple with, sort of rough alpha types like Jack Lemmon from Glengarry Glen Ross.
well, I mean, in America at least, some people do famous podcasts that are about being gay with your dad. But many of us in our political lives, we want to be straight with our dads. And that's what this comes down to.
But you're totally right though. Like what comes after this? It's just like another person or like symbol of a person that like people can project our out of control sexual mania, our completely displaced sexual neuroses that are increasingly finding their expression in the realm of politics. And it is such an odd phenomenon that is becoming like it is getting exponentially weirder and more erotically charged, quote the sex expert in this piece.
I think this is probably a uniquely American thing, but like, do people do this in other countries at all? Like,
I don't know.
Like a thing, like if you're like a Russian liberal, and you've like coalesced behind like Navalny, or you're like, oh, I want to fuck him.
You clearly have never been to a German car auto shop garage. There's always the bikini calendars of Angela Merkel every wall.
They say power is the ultimate aphrodisiac, and that's why I think Angela Merkel is the hottest woman on the planet.
I mean, I don't want to rule it out. Like the idea of like reformists in Iran getting behind the Green Revolution people, but like I do think this is probably an American thing. This is probably just a thing with American liberals.
It's part of the fusion of culture and politics. They said, DC is Hollywood for ugly people, but now people react to politicians and they invest the image of politicians with the same sexual energy that they do with their favorite Hollywood celebs. So now it doesn't matter if you're ugly or hot, you are to be sexually objectified by people who are trying to get something out of this spectacle that they find themselves completely invested in emotionally and completely powerless to influence.
And obviously this is a more pronounced phenomenon among liberal people who are just had to hold up Cuomo as a counterexample to the leadership of Trump, so they could feel like somebody like competent was in control, and a daddy figure was telling them it was going to be okay. And then added on top of that, this bizarre need to also want to fuck him. But let's be honest, all those MAGA ladies are just so hot for Donald Trump. They think he is the most handsome man on the planet,
and so virile and masculine.
It's
exactly
the same thing. Yeah, these are both queenie, soft old men who people have projected their sexual mania on. Like, do you remember the t-shirts that you saw at Trump rallies in 2016 where it just some just old bag of leather and ham is wearing a shirt that's like, he can grab my pussy.
Yep. Those girls should have been happy to get groped by Trump. Just look at him up there.
Yeah. Man, do you remember the town hall they did, and that woman who was an undecided voter was like, you look very handsome tonight, Mr. President.
She spent her entire time just talking about how good looking he was.
That is the most down bad anyone's ever been.
No, the idea of being someone who is finds Trump hot and is not a committed Republican, that's just sick shit.
That's the most insane
I'm
woman
skeptical
in America.
about the governing and all that, but goddamn, just look at the way he fills out a giant billowy suit.
What a physical specimen he is. It's he's like Cary Grant, the way he fills out that suit.
He looks like one of the fat Korean cat accounts I follow on Instagram. He kind of looks like Mango, the large Korean cat.
I mean, I think probably Bill Clinton was the beginning of this as the first cool president, and probably had definitely an outsized sex appeal that he that was probably unwarranted given everything, given the way he looked and acted. But I mean, he played that saxophone. He did generally I mean, like as a politician and as a person, like convey listening to people very well, and women love that.
No, yeah, Bill Clinton's one of the worst American public figures, like maybe ever. But he did. You can't deny he had like actual charisma that like everyone kind of felt. I mean, that's part of how he was able to accomplish so much evil. But more polarizing figures like Trump or people who just don't have that charisma. Like, I'm sorry, Fauci just doesn't. He does not have that. Or
wait,
Cuomo.
This 90-year-old Italian. Once again, who thinks that like a 2/3 scale Italian man with all of the fluids taken out of his body is the height of hotness? I do not understand.
And like also, shouldn't this be like a refutation for like a lot of like down bad guys out there who'd be like, oh, as long as I'm under 6 feet tall, I'll never have a girlfriend. It's like, no, like, dude, you could be 4 feet tall and look like a fucking like look like a gargoyle on the side of a building. And dude, like if you've got swag, if you got something going for you, like there's gonna be people out there who are interested.
This is a message to all our listeners who like fit the general physical description of Andrew Cuomo. Get on Twitch, get yourself a webcam, get yourself a PC, get on Twitch and start doing streams where you're like, I'm very lonely, I want to hug and kiss you. And you're going to start off with no viewers and you'll pick up one, then that grows and grows and grows. And after a few years of like saying that you're lonely and you want to kiss everyone for 4 hours every day, you're going to get some clown. We guarantee it. And if you don't get clown from doing this and you just get embarrassed and laughed at, you can me with a This is a promise. No, I don't edit out my promises.
Yeah, you got to put skin in the game if you're going to make those kind of claims.
No, I'm making a bold claim. I'm saying I can change people's lives, and I think accountability is the most powerful force in the world.
Absolutely.
Accountability to me means that a 5'8" listener shows up at my door with an anti-material rifle and shoots me through. I go through the side of my fucking building due to the force of the projectile. That's what I want. If I'm wrong, it's how confident I am that this will work.
I'll be shooting myself through the fucking wall of my apartment just from blowing ropes, watching Andrew Cuomo videos. What a fucking daddy he is.
He should just do. I mean, that's what he should just like stream now.
I mean, has anyone talked to Sandra Lee during all this? Because, like, I remember when Andrew Cuomo had a very famous girlfriend, but he never wifed her.
Yeah, that's true.
He never wifed her.
Yeah.
Nope, never wifed her up.
Sandra Lee, I'm right on. She was like the cooking show host who like she would make cocktails where it's like just
she's like just a little bit of vodka, and you could see like she was like a shot of glug glug.
No, she seemed awesome. What happened there?
She was cool. I think she was too cool, honestly.
Yeah, he really fucked up there. He was probably drinking like Bud Light on rocks. He was like drinking Mikey Miles shit. She was like, I gotta blow this popsicle stand. Fuck this pussy.
Well,
Mikey Miles, another guy who's had some, let's say, like legal issues as of late. I would like to see an article about like how could we have ever fallen?
But who could have? How could we have seen?
I was a Mikey sexual.
Yeah,
I loved his meals. I loved his shirtless dancing. And there's nothing about him ever seemed off-putting to me at all.
You know what I realized about Mikey Miles this weekend? Like in the wake of his legal troubles, this is Donald Trump if he was poor. Like if he grew up like poor, that's what he would be. They have like the same personality and like they justify things in the same way.
See, I mean, I think like Mikey Miles, Donald Trump, and Andrew Cuomo are like different shades of like the same soul that is sort of reborn in New York State over and over and
there
over again.
There is an ancient evil here.
Yeah,
like it's creating like
it was
very
before even the Europeans got here. It was in the soil. It was in the ground in this cursed land. And Mikey Miles, it's like, he might as well be the same fucking person as Andrew Cuomo, just not successful.
The same guy. Yeah,
just not successful. He's just still out there doing videos, even after. Even after let's say certain things happened, he's just like doing a video and he's like, ups and downs in life. You got you learn you gotta go through things to learn things. I got tequila. What can I say? So
makes your hormones go crazy. Like he's like no, it's.
I'm just
you know how everyone like makes fun of Mikey when he puts a picture of himself and like Robert De Niro side by side. It's like I'm starting to see the resemblance. And, like it's so ridiculous. It was when this was before his legal troubles, when people already knew he was an awful guy, but Cuomo kind of does the same thing.
He absolutely
He's
does.
kind of doing the same where he's like, oh, don't I remind you of like Al Pacino when I'm doing this fucking bullshit tough guy act?
They're is exactly like Mikey Miles. He is a where's my hug guy. He's like one day my angel will come guy. Like just like still thinking about my angel. I wonder if she knows when she knows I'm thinking about her.
I'm just this is a type of New Yorker.
I'm just imagining a spate of resignations from Team Mikey Miles. It has been my joy to serve Team Mikey Miles over the last 4 or 5 years, but this has also been some of the most trying periods of my life.
That would be funny if like Melissa DeRosa, right after she resigns from the Cuomo administration, she signs to the Mikey Miles agency. Just out of the frying pan into the fire.
When you're governor, just sometimes, you go through things. You go through things. There are ups and downs. It's ups and downs. It's ups and downs, but you got to learn. You got to keep trying every day. And, just got to stay away from tequila. Andrew Cuomo,
what is the
Donald
other thing?
Trump,
What is the
Mikey
other
Miles,
thing? What is
all
the other
just
thing?
Kids from New York.
What is the other thing Mikey Miles said? I think I'm turning into my father. That's Andrew, baby.
And Trump.
Damn, dude. That's Andrew and Trump. Damn.
Damn.
They're all the same fucking person. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's just like Mike. It's just like and Mikey Miles is a guy who has the same like insane belief that like his talents or abilities like deserve to be rewarded or celebrated in some way, and Cuomo and Trump are just guys who have achieved that despite all evidence to the contrary. And Mikey's just still out there doing it regardless. Working on some custom videos tonight. Can't call my lawyer though.
I knew Trump wasn't going to be reelected when he didn't take care of the Mikey Miles situation.
Yes.
Should have been a military strike.
It's just, how did so many women get fooled by Mikey Miles? Well, it was the eroticized masculinity that he was conveying, a sort of a hardness and a softness in his videos, that sort of a daddy figure that, lurks somewhere deep in all of our psyches.
Yeah, women love it when a guy's level 35.
All right. Well, I think that does it for us today. Just some kids from New York.
Just some kids from New York.
Kids from New York.
Yeah. Hashtag food porn. Hashtag
foodgasm. Wet spinach.
We've solved it. Andrew Cuomo is Mikey Miles. They're the exact same personality. How the fuck did I not realize this before?
He should take over.
He should. Yeah,
Why not?
Cuomo should resign now. Give it to Michael. Give it to one Michael Miles.
Everyone's yelling at me to fix the trains. I'm trying to go to the grocery store on Sunday.
So many angels on my security detail.
It's got to be 100. There's got to be 100,000 beautiful girls in New York.
Yeah, they all
have active litigation against me.
And again, with Mikey, it's like, how could anyone have known? If only there was some sign that this was all bad, that this maybe was not just such an
evil
not
gremlin.
An evil little goblin who should be sent to the fucking pit, who should be thrown in a pit. He should be thrown in a dungeon
in America.
Be thrown in a fucking dungeon.